Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I'm working on day 4 of By the Will for God's Pleasing in His Sight. Now, I've been meaning to do this again for a while now. I really like doing some backstitching and creating titles doing this. I did this also in a summer project I was working on. However, it does take quite a bit of time. Paige Taylor Evans does this quite frequently with her scrapbooking pages, and I absolutely love the look of it. It just is tedious and kind of time consuming. So today I decided to take that time and do this. I did write out the word delight in a white gel pen first, and then I also came through with a paper piercer and kind of poked my holes before each letter. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this. I just find it makes the needle go through easier. I did kind of skip through this process because it did take me an hour worth of, just sitting here stitching this. And I was also doing homeschool with my kids as well. So it's kind of nice for one of those projects to work on as you're doing something else. So I don't mind doing it in the time that it takes. It just matters if you have that option. So anyways, I am knotting this in the back, and then to secure it a little bit more, I am grabbing some of my scrapbook.com mint tape just to cover everything up and make it a little bit easier to glue down. I did end up stitching my title on this wood grain paper from the paper pack, and since that G is the only letter that dips below the line, it seems a little off with that much wood plank on the bottom portion, and so that is why I'm grunging it up heavily on the bottom side. And I also ended up folding that bottom left hand corner up, and it kind of fills in that area a little bit more. I really like this quote from John Piper that Judy included in today's devotional, and it says, "At root, what God delights in about us is that we delight in Him." And I also included the Bible verse that you'll see in a second how I include that. That is 2 Corinthians 5:9, which says, "Whether we are at home or away, we make it our aim to please Him." And since I have another Bible journaling page on the back side of this page, I decide to just include that verse in a tab. So you'll see me here in a second work on that tab. But first off, we're just trying to get this cluster down and see exactly where I want everything placed. I'm really liking the watercolor look of this kit, and especially this Polaroid with that yellow house. That was kind of my inspiration for this page, and that's why all my highlights are in yellow. And then here is where I grabbed that little tab. I just fed that through my typewriter and wrote in 2 Corinthians 5:9, since that is on the back side of this page. I really wanted to use these greenery dies to add a little bit more flourish to this page. And this is actually the garden greens from Tim Holtz and Sizzix. They come in so much handy all the time. So if you don't have them, grab them. I'll try to link them down below. But I'm creating my own paper right now because this paper pack that came with the kit doesn't have any greens in it. And so I'm just using my heavy stock paper and kind of making this marbled green look with bundled sage and peeled paint. Now, a lot of times we have these die set or greenery pieces that turn a certain way in the die. And I just want to remind you, because sometimes I forget, if you just flip that paper over, you can get it to turn the opposite way. I know that seems super simple and basic, but sometimes we just forget about those simple little changes we can make. So as I'm placing these two greenery pieces behind my cluster, I realize I'm hoping I have a little bit more space for a third piece, which I do, and that really completes this whole cluster by having one turned down below as well. So now I'm adding some antique linen to the background. I really wanted it to be a very light background. However, as I add that antique linen with my makeup brush, you are seeing all the glue marks that I used on the back side of this page, and I'm not crazy about it. So I need to hide that somehow. And so I remembered, I just spoke to Lindsay on the phone the other day, and we were talking about this ledger stamp, and I forgot kind of that I had it. And so I decided to, crack that out and get it working. And so I end up stamping this in the background with some of that brushed corduroy. I thought that would work really well with this page. However, I stamp it down and I love the look of it. However, it's too dark, I feel like. I really wanted it to stand out, but it was just a little too much. And so instead I take some of this gesso, and this at first is going to be scary because it looks like you're just taking away everything that you first did. But as it dries, you'll see it, and it'll just be this light impression of the stamp, and I just love the look of it. So now here it is dry, so you'll be able to see as you get up close, you can see all, the scripty letters, but it's not taken away from the cluster at all as well. So I'm laying these greenery pieces down, trying to just glue them exactly where I had them to begin with, but then I just realized it's probably just easier to hold that cluster on top and make sure that I get the placement that I want. So that is what I am doing here. I also added a little bit of foam tape to the back of that floral piece. You'll see me add as well. I just forgot to say that beforehand. So now we are just adding this cluster together, making sure it's basically all glued together. So no worries there. And I will add that foam flower as well. And now I'm turning to making my own fabric bow clip. I used to make my own fabric bow clips all the time, and I love it. However, my pages have gotten more detailed lately in the past year, and so a lot of times I don't even end up putting a bow on top. And so I was kind of missing that. And so I decided to add some fabric this time by adding a bow clip. Someone once told me to basically make your own bow clip by like you're tying your shoes without doing that first knot. So that is how I create my bow clips. And I like them really big if I have enough room. So I just end up adding that bow clip to the top. And then I also need to remember to add my date stamp to the bottom left-hand corner. After adding that, this page for day 4 will be complete. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. I'll try to link everything I use down below in the description, and I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.